All right, so we have some images ready to go. Now we just need to create our grid layout to bring those images into. So go to the File menu and make a new file. You want to make sure you click on the print setting, and then our new file is going to be 10 by 10 and 300 pixels per inch. Once you have that image created, you want to go to the View menu and then scroll down to where you see New Guide Layout. You'll get this dialog box and you'll notice that some things have changed on your screen here. You have now a series of guides that are set up automatically, and those are changeable and customizable here in this new guide layout dialog box. So you can, if you click and hold under preset, you'll see there's all these different choices in terms of columns, but we're going to make a grid layout, so we need both columns and rows. We're going to choose three columns and 3 rows so that we end up with 9 images all together. The other thing we want to do is you want to make sure that your gutter is 0.2 for both column and row. And then you want to make sure that you click on margin, and your margin should be 0.2 all the way around. Once you have these settings, hit OK. So these are guides, and guides are movable guides. They're movable references for you to use to align to. I have my rulers showing here by default, and you can always go to the View menu and access your rulers right in the View pull-down menu. The other thing you can do in that ruler, when you have the rulers enabled, is you can click and drag to add a guide. Once you've added a guide, you can move it. So once you have created a guide, you can move it. If you click and drag quickly up, you can get rid of the guides that way. And it works the same on the left-hand side. I can drag in a guide from that left-hand ruler as well. I should just mention, if you have your ruler showing and you bring your mouse to where the ruler is and hold down Control, notice that you can change the increments at any time from inches to pixels, for instance. And that is true for the side ruler as well as the top ruler. You're going to need to find your rectangle tool on the toolbar. And if you can't find it easily, you can hit the U on the tool on your keyboard. The U is going to give you the shape tool set. You may not have the rectangle by default, and if you don't, you can add Shift. Now I have the Shift key held down and I'm just hitting the U, and I'm cycling through all of the different shape tools that are in that tool set. Okay, so if you don't see the rectangle, add the Shift key as you hit the U on your keyboard, and that should help you cycle through and find it. It doesn't really matter what your foreground color is, and you'll see why in just a minute. The other thing we want to do before we create a rectangle is you want to go to the View menu again, and then you want to make sure that Snap is selected. You want that check mark next to it. The other thing you want to look for is you want to make sure that that your guides are showing and that Smart Guides are showing. I think your guides will be showing by default, but Smart Guides, you do want that because that's going to help you just align things. Okay, so make sure that your Smart Guides are showing, and make sure that Snap is on. That is going to make it really easy to draw some squares. So if you hover over till you get to right here, right in this first square region, and then just click and drag, you'll see, do you see that? See how the square, it kind of snaps into place? That's because we have snapping enabled. Okay, so once you make that first square, then you can continue on and finish this whole first row. Once you have the first row created, switch over to your Move tool. Go to your Layers panel. Remember, it's in the Window pull down if you can't find it. Click on your top layer to select the top layer, and then hold down your shift key and go down to your bottom shape layer. You want to make sure all 3 layers are selected, and then you can just hit the folder icon to create a layer group. Once you have the layer group created, you can then hit Command J. It's Control J if you're on a PC. As soon as you do that, what I want you to do is take this Group 1 copy, and now I want you to watch this really closely. I want you to click and drag that group down beneath Group 1. Now, see how my whole Group 1, see how I have a rectangular blue line around Group 1? That is not what you want. You want to hover until you get just the horizontal line. That tells you that you're going to move it underneath Group 1. If you have the whole Group 1 selected like this, that means you're going to put this first group inside the second group, and I don't think you want to do that. You want to put it underneath, so make sure you hover to where you just see the horizontal line. Once you have done that, you should still have your Move tool, and you can just click and drag, and you can see that those squares are going to snap right into place. And because we haven't done anything else in Photoshop, and we still have that group on the clipboard, so to speak, we can hit just Command J again, and that's Control J if you're on a PC, and we've now made another third group. That's going to become our third row, but we need to move that group down beneath the second group. So you should have Group 1 at the top, then Group 1 copy, and then Group 1 copy 2. You might want to rename these layers just so you don't get confused. Once you've named them, you can go to the top layer. Oops, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Go to the bottom layer, and we need to actually drag that down so it's in position. There we go. Now we have 9 squares, and everything is right in the world. And we are ready now to go and start bringing in some of the images we just created by using actions and batch processing.